Hi everybody, welcome to TDL Live. Woo! It is Tuesday, August 24, 2010. Ryan Ritchie, Jamie DeGrazio, you just missed an interesting debate about superheroes. And if things are a little short tonight, maybe we'll get back to it.
Yeah.
You're a big fan of Aquaman.
No, I am not.
That's all right. Everybody needs to be a fan of someone. In case you're new to the show, welcome. What we do is we take the news of the week, the tech-related, a little bit of a Mac slant as well.
Of the day.
That's what we do. Of the day.
Yes.
And we put it in this bowl, we mix it up, we pull those out in a random order just to add a little spice.
Yep. Then we got the board over here where you
go. The board with the things we'll discuss just off the cuff.
Yeah.
Off the cuff.
Spontaneously.
Exactly. Now you know the rules. Visitor goes first. Pull a good one.
I don't know if you saw this today. Exciting news. Apple patents. Everyone loves Apple patents. So a filing showing a touch-enabled iMac and a MacBook. So from the drawings, it looked kind of similar to what we have back here. And I guess we see this the G4. Yeah. So it was, you would somehow lower the screen, and then when it lowered, it would flip into touch mode, where I guess it would have a series of icons. You know, it would have like an accelerometer. You lower it, and then it would go into touch mode, and like I guess a blend of the iPad OS and Mac OS X.
I wonder if what it really is a blend, or if it just goes into iOS mode.
Yeah. And
you do all those apps and the stuff you want to do. Because I don't know that they're going to have the people or the time to really work on integrating touch into whatever the next Leopard is. We're running out of cats again, 10 points.
Yeah.
So maybe you just go into iOS mode and you can use a bunch of the apps. You can pick the computer up if it's an augmented reality thing. And go around your house.
Well, it makes sense, because if you think about it, like OS X has never been designed for touch. So if it was just OS X with touch, you know, you're going to be trying with like your fingernail to close the windows and open up preference panes, and it's not designed for that. So if you could just sort of add iOS on top of that and bring up your iOS apps, I think that makes sense.
I've never had a chance to play with, there was that company, and maybe someone can help us.
Yeah, what was it? It was, they convert the MacBooks.
They would convert
I can't think of what it is.
And they put a touch screen in, and they also would do that on an iMac, and I wonder, how that interface.
But it wasn't multi-touch.
No,
it was just for a stylus.
Right, instead of the mouse to double-click on a program or something like that. So there you go. Speaking of,
but will we ever see this? Who knows?
I think we'll see this.
Yeah, you think so?
I think this is a 10.7 add-on, and it'll work exclusively with the brand new touch-enabled devices. Speaking of Apple patents, one we didn't put in the bowl was this one everybody was up in arms about detecting unauthorized users with the iPhone and then shutting it down. And apparently
anti-jailbreaking.
Part of it was that also it could be deactivated from jailbreaking.
I don't think that's one I don't think we'll see. I think even though Apple, see, the whole jailbreaking thing is kind of strange, because it is legal now, but
it's also legal though for them to try to prevent it. Is the way.
Yeah. So, I just wonder if they would risk the bad publicity to go after the jailbreaking community, because I know there are people who jailbreak and pirate apps.
Sure.
But I think the majority of those people are looking to unlock, which would affect their relationship with AT&T, but doesn't affect the sale of the hardware.
Well, there are people who use a Mac and steal or pirate music.
Yeah.
So, but it's not like Apple's making it that you can't go to those sites or your computer shuts down. So it's kind of weird that they're overreaching here, potentially. Now, what I think will happen here is you'll get a system whereby, if you want to, totally voluntary, you can do like a voice print or a picture, and then probably as a MobileMe tie-in. Once you do that, then if someone else uses the phone,
you could just shut it down.
You could be notified. And look, from time to time they have some patents and some ideas that are really scary, but you have to remember with these patents, they're always, the language of them, it's always overreaching, and it always sounds a little funny. So just keep an eye on them.
Yeah, I don't think anything to worry about. People kind of got scared from that, but
don't be scared. Kids, don't be scared. Maybe we should do a children's show. A tech.
Yeah, you're perfect for that.
A tech kids show.
Yeah, kid. Yeah. Hey, kids.
Hey, kids.
No, let's not do that.
Did you touch the mouse?
Let's not do that.
How to touch the mouse? Web scam.
Are you going to? Is this one of the
macro
things?
seems just absolutely terrible.
Will you? This is a perfect topic for the kids.
Hey kids, can you scam PayPal? So there's a web scam involving iTunes and PayPal. This comes to us from the BBC. Shout out to the Beeb. Apparently, iTunes accounts that are linked to PayPal, they're getting these emails that there's an issue.
Sounds like a phishing scam.
Exactly.
Yeah.
When you click on it, then your account gets drained.
Well, they're getting. You're logging into the phishing scam. You're giving them your PayPal account name and password, and then
Because they know there's a good chance you probably have iTunes, you probably have PayPal, so a lot of people will fall for it.
So can you link PayPal to iTunes? Is that how? Okay, see, I've never done. To me, I've never really used PayPal except for eBay, but I didn't know you could link the two.
You can indeed, and I would.
Seems like a bad idea.
Well, is it worse than your bank account? I don't know.
Yeah, it's true.
You tell us. Hey, that reminds me. Don't forget, we're in. Are we in iChat? What do you say when you're on? We're on iChat at TDL Live. Also, Twitter. This guy loves it. Also,
I love the
TDL
Twitter.
Live.
I love Twitter.
So there you go. Oh, you're jumping right in.
Well, I don't. Did you want? Is there some witty banner you wanted to get to? No. Kevin Rose.
Hey, Kev.
Your buddy. You guys are.
We're tight.
Tight. He thinks a new Apple TV will be awesome.
Well, if Kevin says it.
Well, he's forgetting the previous two Apple TV failures, but the third one's going to be awesome. So, according to KevinRose.com, Apple's going to release a new Apple TV, maybe called iTV, who knows, this September, and it's going to run the Apple iOS. It'll run the apps, and will only be $99. Can you believe that? I mean, they sell a $70 mouse, but the Apple TV is only going to be $99.
Here's the thing. I agree with Mr. Rose in this regard. I don't enjoy tea as much as him. But I do think that there is a potential for a device.
No, I think there is going to be a new Apple TV.
But there's a potential for a device that could be cool.
Yeah.
I just can't believe, I don't think Apple's going to do all that in one step. When we were talking about it, and things like, some people are saying, oh, there'll be apps to, say, use it as a DVR and record your programs, and maybe it's in the cloud. They make their money on selling you shows.
They want to show
and
you
rentals.
Yeah.
They're not going to allow you to easily record because you gave somebody 99 cents for an app.
Yeah, I mean, there's a related story, I'm not sure if it's in here, that they're talking about 99 cents movie rentals.
Show rentals.
Show rentals.
Yeah.
Which sounds great, but then are you going to have Hulu bundled on that as well? Are you going to be able to get Netflix on your Apple TV? Because if you are, you're kind of competing with the 99-cent show rentals.
Right.
And so I don't know.
Well, and it depends on how you use it. I tend to find a show and then watch the whole show, the whole series.
And then that would be a lot of money on
just to rent it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, you have nothing.
Yeah.
And frankly, depending on the show, it's probably about the same price as going and getting a DVD set. If there's, say, 22 episodes in a season, $22 to rent it or $35 to own it.
I mean, that was my personal experience was when the Marvel Comics app came out on the iPhone. It's, $2 an issue, and in a few days I blew through $60 worth of comics with really nothing to show for it because it's just on the phone.
Right.
While then I decided, well, that's kind of silly, so I just went on the Marvel's website. They have a web-based subscription for $50. All you can read, you have access to their entire back catalog almost.
Are those Flash?
It's Flash-based. That's the problem. So I can't use it on the phone, but I spent $60 on 30 comics on the phone.
Well, and I've if you go back through the archives frequently, Kevin is right.
No, he's got the right sources.
Well, but he's right in so much as he's right about the parts that we all could pretty much guess. And if he's off a little, like on the price, he can always have that wiggle room of saying, well, they must have changed it at the last minute. I tend to agree with you. I would be very surprised.
I don't think there's any way it's $99.
Maybe $149. I'll give you $149.
Well, here's my thinking. It's how are you going? If you're going to have apps, how do you control this device? The current Apple remote's just not going to cut it.
Right.
So people are saying, well, maybe you'll bundle the new trackpad. Magic trackpad, but that's $70. So
right.
Maybe you do bundle that, but then that device is going to be $200.
Right. Well, you just simply use your $300 iPod Touch remote to be able to do that. That's how it works. All of these things, though, use apps, which brings me to this month's issue of Wired.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if you're a Wired reader.
Occasionally.
Every once in a while, Wired will have a headline.
All right, well, what are you doing?
That's a little. I'm just kidding. That's right. I have to learn from the children's show to always explain my emotions. Sometimes their headlines are a little sensational.
Oh yes, I saw this.
But they've toned it down a little bit here with "The web is dead."
Yes. Now, I saw the issue. I haven't read the story, so
the web is dead.
So what's
a magazine?
Why is it
saying the web is dead?
And what's their?
Find that fascinating.
Do you have their bullet points? Why?
Well, I mean, the basic idea of it does make sense. What they're saying is we're getting closer and closer to using the internet, but not the web. So you use apps. You'll use Hulu for TV or whatever, and you're always in these different apps rather than going to a website, going online. They're saying you're just using the internet, and that part of it's good, is correct, and it is a shame. I just think it's a little overstated.
Sure,
that's all. But you know, I've said for years, nobody surfs anymore. You have your sites.
Yeah, you just hit the same sites over
and over and over. I mean, there was a time, if I could put on the old man hat, not for the children's show, but where it was exciting just to find other things. It would be like, oh my God, there's a site about zebras.
Yeah.
But nobody does that now. Nobody looks for anything, and so we're kind of turning it into an extension of television.
Sure, you have. Yeah, I mean, remember there was that whole argument that Steve Jobs had where you turn your brain on in front of the computer and you turn it off in front of TV. That's why he was so against TV for a long time. And what I learned with my habits on the computer is I use the computer. I don't watch TV now, but I surf the web as if I was watching TV. Exactly. I just channel surf from my favorite sites.
Right. And I
turn the brain off. Just
all the time because the computer's in front of you the whole time. So I agree with that part of it, but I'm not sure that anybody necessarily made that declaration or that there's anything you can do about it. And who knows? There could be something that changes the balance of power. Maybe HTML5.
Sure.
I just did.
Oh.
I apologize.
Oh, this is something you. Is this you? Apple, remember that guy who worked at Apple that got kickbacks, accused, he was an Apple exec.
This happened while we were gone. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so maybe we didn't discuss this. So there's an Apple exec, Paul Devine, who's accused of taking $1 million in payoffs from Asian parts suppliers. Turns out they found $150,000 stashed in shoe boxes.
Sure.
I guess in ones, or I don't know what do they pay. I guess ones. So it's not looking too good for Paul. But I don't know. Maybe he just doesn't believe in banks.
Maybe he doesn't believe
maybe
in banks.
That's his life savings.
He's a collector of bills. A news.
But what I want to know is, what were they paying him off for? What information was he giving them?
I don't think he was in a position to single-handedly pick one supplier over another for chips or anything like that. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't think all the information's out on this one yet. But hey, I'll tell you what all the information is out on.
What's that?
This week's tech question.
Oh yeah. What is?
So you'll remember we used to do root access.
Yeah, we don't do that anymore.
The question this week is from Casey. Casey, this came to us on iChat. The question is, can you overclock a Mac?
My experience, I've never personally done it, but my experience is, in the past there have been some applications that allowed you to sort of boost the processor past what it's originally designed for, or what Apple specifies it to be. My experience was it wasn't like PC overclocking where there's a BIOS that you go in. So you would have to run the application and somehow it would trick the OS into basically overclocking the processor.
But back in the PowerPC days, you could get in there and solder things.
Yeah, I mean, there were times where you could actually like move some jumpers around on some old G3s or G4 towers, and you could basically move from like the low-end model of the unit to, like, you know, the low-end model was 400 megahertz and the middle model was 450. You could move to the 450 megahertz version.
Which seemed like a big deal then.
Yeah,
and that's a 10% increase.
And I guess now there's no BIOS. I mean, there's never been a BIOS on the Mac, and I don't think there's really a community looking to do that as much as there is on a PC with the PC gamers and the
right. Well, there was a piece of software overclocking from ZDNet of all places in Germany that works specifically with Mac Pros with Xeon processors, and as luck would have it, that's what I have. And so I tried it, and the results were less than stellar. I was able to add 84 megahertz before it started crashing.
Yeah.
Really not worth it. And you had to start it every time you started the computer. And there were problems if you put it to sleep. Sometimes you'd have to restart it as well. Now, the other thing that's kind of related to this is I don't get why we don't really see upgrades either. You remember when the Macs went to Intel, people said, hey, this is great. When you want a new chipset, you just grab new processors, pop them in there like the PC world has done for years.
Yeah, I mean, and you could do that for a while. Like I remember seeing the original Mac Minis. I believe the processor wasn't soldered onto the board, so if you wanted to, you could pop it out and upgrade it. You could just buy an off-the-shelf Intel processor. But I think now a lot of those processors, I think they're soldered. I mean, the notebooks you could never do that.
Right, right. And if they're not soldered, they're very, very difficult to get to.
Yeah, and I just think there's not a market on the Mac side that makes it just worth it.
It's frustrating to me that my computer 2 years from now would be fine if I could just throw new processors in it. You know, has decent front side bus, decent memory, but you just can't. You can't do it. So
buy a PC.
Buy a PC. 2-pager. Okay. Well, I don't know a lot about you.
Yeah.
But I know you like sumo wrestling.
Yeah, oh yeah, big fan.
So oddly enough, this comes to us from Engadget. In the Japan Sumo Association, they're going to be giving out iPads to all of the wrestlers.
Because they're large hands, is that why?
I hope they've considered that. To facilitate swift communications. It turns out that apparently the wrestlers and their managers haven't been responding to fax and telephone communications.
Okay.
So they've decided, well, we'll show them, we'll give each of them an iPad.
Is it just because like the iPad's a small phone to them? They're so big. Right. It's like the Hulk, He would just.
They can put a holster on their diaper.
Yeah.
That big thing, just hold it there. I think that's what it is. You're onto something there. It's the.
What? I don't get why won't they use a phone, but they'll use an iPad. I don't know.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it's the big fingers or something. Speaking of size.
Yes.
And whether it matters, there have been a couple rumors about a 7-inch iPad.
Yeah.
And I was taking a look at your Facebook. You enjoyed the Facebook. You indicated you could be tucked into a 7-inch
I could be. I think 7 inches is the magic number. I hear it's the perfect size for a lot of things. But my experience with an iPad, I currently don't own an iPad, but every time I go to the local Best Buy, I play with the iPad. I feel it's too big. I feel it's a little bit too heavy. I feel like there's a lot of wasted space. It looks, to me personally, I think it looks strange with the rows of icons and this large screen.
Right.
And I think if you just trim a little bit off of it, 7 inches I think is perfect.
And other tablets?
Yeah, it looks like there's some other Android tablets coming out that are going to be 7. So maybe they'll kind of force Apple's hand, even if they originally weren't thinking 7 inches. If the competition goes that way, maybe they'll go that way too.
I wonder if there's enough pricing room for a smaller one, though.
Well, that might also, that might go in Apple's favor. It might be a way for them to drop $100, knock $100 off, and say, look, you can get an iPad now. Because what is it now? $500. You can get one for $400 or $350.
But it's smaller.
But it's smaller, yeah.
And it would be interesting to see whether the apps would need to be written for a different resolution then as well. Okay. The processor's now integrated. I think that's a thought from our last discussion there.
Well, there you go. That's why you can't get in there with the chisel and just pry it off there.
You could, I guess.
I'm going to pass this one to you, or maybe I'll throw this one back in.
PBR.
I'll throw that one back in. I'll take.
We'll get to it eventually.
I'll take. We touched on this one. 99-cent TV rentals coming.
All right, we talked.
We talked. Enough about the. All right, no. $300 million iTunes U downloads Oh, so I didn't even read this fully. So the iTunes U service, which is what the university service, has reached 300 million downloads. Now, have you ever used this service? I've never, I mean, seen it there, but never paid much attention to it.
For the purposes of TDL, I haven't really personally dealt with it.
Yeah.
It's really a mix of, you have some audio podcasts in there, you have videos of actual classes. Some of them are kind of continuing ed things.
This is all free?
Yes.
It's all free, yeah.
Some of them, you kind of miss something because you're not in the class, or you don't have the materials that go with it. But I want to start spending a little bit more time in there for TDL to maybe find some picks of the week and that kind of thing from in there. So if you want to learn, woodworking.
You're not going to continue your education, though.
You just won't get credit. No, I'm not going to continue my education. But 300 million downloads.
Yep.
What would be interesting to me is the fact that you have downloaded 0 and I've downloaded maybe 3.
Yeah.
I'm curious how much of a push there is on college campuses. If your particular class is available as a podcast, are you strongly encouraged to subscribe and download that? Or is it really more intended for people off campus who want to check in, who aren't going to make it to Stanford? I'm not going to go to Stanford. But I could...
well, why aim... you don't have to aim low. You can aim high, Ryan. You can go to Stanford. We believe in you.
Really? Does everyone believe in me? We got 2 things left on the board.
Yeah, your 2 favorite topics.
Okay, now you always love these stories with the statistics because we don't have any graphics here. So Mac enterprise sales surged in June according to Fortune. Taking a look at what we found here, Mac shipment growth in June, the market, so for all manufacturers, was 20.9%, which seems high to me anyhow. The Mac clocked in at 35%. There'll be a quiz on these numbers at the end. Mac shipments in government grew 200%, 16 times faster than the market at 12.1%, which is fascinating given that a lot of budgets are constrained.
Sounds like Obama. Obama, he likes to spend a lot of money, right? Is that? I like Obama. I'm just saying sounds like he likes to spend a lot of money. Well, he likes technology. He has a BlackBerry though, so why would he buy Macs?
49.8% of the Mac's growth in business was 3 times higher than the market as well. So all around, not bad for a company that doesn't do a whole lot to cater to the enterprise market. They just kind of tell you this is the solution. Do you want it or don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, you're buying 1,000. We'll give you 5% off. So.
But like I said, I think last week we touched on this. Where are the enterprise jobs to support the stuff? I need a job, people.
Send an email.
I can't make a living doing this.
It's true. You can't make a living doing this. You're absolutely right. Hey, let's talk about BlackBerry.
Yeah.
So BlackBerry, they had the Torch. That came out right after.
I hope you didn't buy it when it first came out because I hear it's going on sale.
Went on sale the next week.
Yes.
I'll tell you, nothing says panic. What were they thinking? Everybody's immediately going to think.
Well, it just got horrible reviews. I mean, I've watched the Engadget show, and they had it on there, and I think they compared it. I don't know what they were comparing to, an iPhone or even a Windows phone, but it was so slow loading the pages, and they just dogged it the whole time. And that was a few days before launch. I mean, all the press sort of panned it.
It doesn't even seem like BlackBerry users are excited about it.
No.
So it might not even be enough. I thought it would be enough to stave off people leaving, but we'll have to see. So are they going to end up like Palm?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. They will end up getting bought, I think, by somebody.
Maybe Microsoft.
Well, you never know. If this Windows phone goes in the toilet, they might just say, you know what? Let's just buy BlackBerry and be done with it, and we'll be satisfied with our 20% of the market. So
let's put your magical hat, seeing the future hat on for a moment. It's June 2011. 2011.
Okay.
The world. It's a nice place. We've solved global warming. Disease
everyone
is a thing of the
gets
past.
along. Yes.
What are the what phones are in play? Because of course this fall we get the Windows 7
Windows phone. Yeah, I think it'll still be. I think Android will be in the lead, followed by the iPhone, and then way behind you'll. Well, what is it? Well, where is BlackBerry right now? Are they
in terms of quarterly sales? Now the last figures were right up before the iPhone 4 was released, I believe, or didn't count the whole quarter. They're still number 1.
They were number 1.
In terms of smartphone sales.
So my mistake then. there's no way they're gonna. I don't think they'll drop below number 2. So it'll probably be like Android, BlackBerry, iPhone nipping on the heels of BlackBerry.
Right.
Yeah, and then below that, way below that, Windows and Palm.
What do you think Palm now with HP at the helm?
See, I think I think they're getting out of the phone business.
No more phones.
I think they're going to just, because that ship has sailed. They can never be more than the 4th player.
And I wonder, of course, that means then that they bought Palm mainly for an OS for a tablet.
Yeah, for tablets and
Do
netbooks.
we need 4 tablet OSs?
I think you're going to see a ton of tablet OSs because Apple right now is doing well, but they have no competition at all. So I think you're going to get an Android tablet, you're going to get a Palm tablet, you're going to get a BlackBerry Blackboard or something. Yeah, you're going to have 5 probably tablet OSs.
Comment relating to the BlackBerry. First signs of a dead phone is lower prices.
Yeah.
Let us not forget a certain first release of the iPhone dropped dramatically shortly after launch. But that is different than this, this Torch. I mean, I think they just panicked. Will it sell more units than the Kin?
Yes, because at least there's an enterprise market people in enterprise who have to upgrade, and they'll say, well, let's get the best available BlackBerry that's out there, and they'll get a nice discount, and
that'll be it. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see though, because BlackBerry at number 1, it's so fueled by these huge purchases by companies, and if they start looking at the new BlackBerries, and again, the Torch is just the first of what's supposed to be a bunch of them, but if they're not all that thrilled with it, and they start thinking, well, gosh, maybe we should go to Android or iPhone, or, well, we use Windows, we should maybe go to the Windows phone. I think BlackBerry could nosedive very, very quickly. And the stock already has, if you're
sell.
Holding onto that stock.
You sold all yours?
Oh, yeah, I got rid of all my stock. Am I up? Can somebody?
Yeah. 3 minutes left.
Anything you want to say? So Motorola has purchased 280 North, which was a startup created by some folks who left Apple. Not unlike TDL.
Yes.
So Motorola, you have a little extra
following
money.
in your footsteps.
The cost of the acquisition is rumored to be $20 million.
Well, we'll go for a little bit cheaper than that.
It gives them, not much cheaper, gives them access to a programming platform known as Cappuccino.
What does that give you?
Simplifies creating deeper web apps. So apparently Motorola getting into the web app business. I think that was a solid purchase for them. They say it would help, quote, foster the Android ecosystem through web-based apps and technology. I don't buy it. HTML5. But again, Motorola, TDL. You know what? For a quarter of that much, we'll let you sponsor us.
Yes.
It's just that easy. Hey, let's talk condiments.
You mean like mayonnaise and, and mustard?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, I understand you're very serious about your condiments.
How does this? I don't know how this relates to technology, but well, yeah. Well, we were just. I don't know. We should explain this to the listeners.
Go ahead.
For some reason we were talking about condiments right before we went on air.
Sure.
And I said that you never go cheap on the condiments. You know, I mean, you go into a grocery store, you can buy the Hunt's ketchup, and it's $1 less, but you're making a grave mistake if you go down that road, because you know, no matter how good that hamburger or hot dog is, when you put that Hunt's on there, that's it, you lost it. Go with the Heinz, pay the extra buck.
Much like our Hunt's sponsorship.
Don't buy the Miracle Whip. Get the Hellmann's. What did I tell you about Hellmann's? Hellmann's mayonnaise is so good that I can eat it as an appetizer.
And he has. You've eaten spoons
I will just eat
it.
Yeah, it's that good. How do you think I get this body?
We'll wrap up with a rumor. This comes to us from Mac Daily News. Apple significantly adding telesales positions for, quote, a very big new product coming in October. So we'll see what that is. Multiple sources. The position has been, the increase has been described as huge. It's probably enough people to work at that data center, and by others as significant. There's going to be a 4-week training course, according to their sources, to get the new hires up to date, and they should start next week. Again, we didn't get any call about that.
I'm unemployed. I could use a job.
So
sounds like the Apple TV.
A very big new product. It could be Apple TV.
Yep.
Apple TV. We'll talk about this more some other time, perhaps. subscriptions are really going to be the make or break, I think, when we see this device, if we see this device.
So is it going to be one of the situations where you have to call to maybe activate your Apple TV, and then they try to talk you into like these plans? Well, don't you want? Well, don't you want?
For 3
We'll
months?
throw in the ESPN app when you get the Hulu app. And then when you try to cancel, they say, well, no, don't cancel. We'll just give you next month's for free.
And then you could be like, well, you know, I got this flyer from Boxy.
Yeah.
And they're willing to give me 3 months for $14.95. Yeah, exactly. Well, we will see. And thank you once again for joining us, everyone. Certainly appreciate it. And